I strongly believe that generative AI, when used in the right manner, it enhances the individual's ability to actually produce quality stuff. Right? It's not a replacement for the individual. It's a tool where every individual should use in order to enhance what they are capable of.
This week on the Product Experience, I'm joined by Laka Sriram, the VP of Generative AI at GoDaddy. Laka and his team focus on leveraging AI tech to build products that help new businesses scale and be more efficient with their time. In this chat, we cover his background at Alexa, how his team at GoDaddy set their AI strategy, and how they launched a generative AI tool. Hi, Laka. Really great to meet you. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Lily. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
So before we get stuck into our topic for today, which I'm very excited to talk about, because I always love a new product launch, it would be great to give us a quick intro to who you are and your background in product and what you're doing today.
Of course. So I am Laka Sriram. I am a VP of product at GoDaddy, and I lead our brand new experience and product stream called Aero at the company. I have been here for 3 years now. And prior to that, I was at Amazon for a bunch of years, 7 years. And overall, I have 20 years of work experience in the software industry. I have been in 4 companies in the span of 20 years, which I'm thrilled about that. Like I go into one, I spend enough time there, I want to make a difference in each one. And then I exit whenever I see the right time. So 4 companies overall, 20 years, including the GoDaddy one. Been in some of the large-scale tech companies that have been obsessed with innovation, making customer impact, and delivering customer value at a rapid pace. So that has been a constant theme during my different companies that I've worked with.
Awesome. Thanks very much. I always think it's really interesting, that dynamic between, or the difference between working in lots of companies for a short amount of time, which has mostly been my time working in tech, versus, getting really deep into a company and, spending a lot of time there and really understanding it really well and stuff. So it's interesting to, to hear your perspective today and to see how you've worked in product and how you've kind of grown in your product career, taking that kind of path. So tell us, you mentioned you worked at Amazon. I know you worked on Alexa.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit about what that was like.
Yeah, it was a fascinating period of my career. So when I joined Alexa, we were a very small group, and it started growing at a rapid pace in terms of number of customers, in terms of number of features, in terms of expanding at scale, at multiple markets, and so on, and the number of people as well. Like within the org, we were expanding at a tremendous pace. By the time I left, we were at more than 10,000 people in Alexa. So it was a fascinating time of growth. Specifically, when I was at Alexa, I was in the speech organization, which was responsible for the models that would take in the audio that comes in from the customer through the device onto the cloud, processing it, identifying the right slots and tokens, and determining what needs to, how to respond back to the customer. And I was wearing different hats over the period of time. Like I was there, like I said, I was there for 7 years in that same org. And at one point I was leading making Alexa faster. And at one point I was looking at geolocation of customers and how do we handle the input based on the location that they were in. I was part of our launch in outside of US and also into mobile apps and so on. So there wore different hats and went through different timelines as well. I was this initial massive growth period. I was really exciting, felt like a real startup and with a lot of funding. And so all we had to go fast, and that was exciting. And then came a phase where, okay, you've grown really big now. Let's make sure that you have the right accountability and so on and so forth. So it was being in those 2 phases in
Mm.
the same in the same org in a company like Amazon, which is known for its amazing leadership principles and the way it addresses customers and focuses on the customers. It was an impactful period of my career, and I've taken a lot of things from it for sure.
And it would be great to kind of understand sort of what you've taken from that period into GoDaddy, because obviously you're working on kind of groundbreaking products at Amazon, like Alexa. When it came out, there was nothing else like it, was there? So now working with GenAI at GoDaddy, it's a similar sort of thing where GenAI is such a new technology for everyone, I think, for
Yeah,
most people, the majority of people. So it would be really interesting to hear sort of the kinds of things that you learned and the principles or the practices that you learned at Amazon and how you've taken that into GoDaddy.
yeah, it's been a huge influence. And coming in, that was, I think, part of my role as well, to bring in some new ideas into the company and to make us move faster. And so some of the main things were like the focus on customer, right? Like what is the customer impact, and just working backwards from that. It was in a different form when I was working at Cypress Semiconductors initially as a software engineer as well, like my first 10 years. But at Amazon, that's treated as a very different scale. Like everyone starts from the customer, and unless you have a customer impact and that's significant and you're making a difference for the customer, things don't move forward at all. So bringing that into a landscape like Gen AI, which is moving really rapidly, and there's so many options for us to choose from. Like it's not a lack of ideas. Which once you're into using Gen AI, there's so many ideas and so many shiny objects, and the options are plenty. So it's more the anchor of how do we add value to customer? Like, is it a true value, or is it like a one-time thing that they would use and then they go away, right? Like a meaningful, sustained customer value. I think that was a huge thing. The invent and simplify is something that's really close to me. It's doing something new, but doing it in a way where we actually simplify things for us, simplify things for the customer. And that I use that term quite a bit in my teams and people that I work with, is how do we simplify stuff? And
Mm.
the combination of simplification, moving fast, and truly delivering meaningful customer impact in a landscape like Gen AI, I think that helps us keep our focus on, as well as make meaningful stuff.
And it would be great if you could just tell us a bit more about Aero, the product. I'm sure lots of people, the majority of people probably know GoDaddy as a business. But yeah, tell us a bit about Aero and how that came to be.
Yeah, so Aero fundamentally is an experience that creates a magical, seamless set of things for a customer. When I say set of things, it's a set of products, set of features that get auto-generated with customized content that's relevant for the business idea that they came in with. Right? So, like you said, GoDaddy is well known for its domain business. A lot of people out there, when they think of GoDaddy, they think of, okay, that's the place where I would go to buy a domain. And so that it's our biggest funnel coming in. But we are much more than just a domain business. We have a set of product and features that help the entrepreneur with every aspect of their business journey. Right? We call it the entrepreneur's wheel. So the entrepreneur's wheel circles around identity, presence, and commerce aspects of a small micro business owner. And so what we really wanted to do with Aero was, okay, the biggest funnel still remains as domain. And so
Mm.
when the customer comes in, when they complete the purchase of a domain, that is most likely one of the starting points of them trying to establish their identity or their presence, right? So we even simplified that even more. When a customer comes in, we ask them for, tell me your business idea. What is it that you're thinking about? Explain that in plain English. And then Aero kicks in. It's able to help the customer land on the right domain for them using generative AI, like which is our own models as well as external models. So we do have some in-house models as well. And then after they complete the domain, purchase of the domain, the rest of the products and features, they get auto-generated and it's just laid out in front of them. Like imagine, like what Aero does is creates a brand new website for them, creates a coming soon page and a full website. Like there are two versions of it. and then it creates a set of logos that resonates with their business idea. It creates an email account and an email signature. It creates a marketing calendar with a large set of social posts. It's ready for them to post, email marketing, and so on and so forth. There are plenty more. There's social handles, there is site optimizations. It just keeps on going. So it's, as a customer, we see that the main bottleneck for small micro business owner who has like 1 to 10 employees in the business, which is our main customer cohort. For them, their main bottleneck is time and effort, right?
Mm.
And so we were anchoring around how do we save time, how do we save effort for our customers and help them get more customers. And Aero does that in a splendid way.
And you've kind of talked a little bit about this, but how and when did you decide to invest in Aero? Like, how did you come up with the? I mean, you've talked a bit about how you came up with the concept of, the domain being like the starting point for the new business idea, which absolutely I have had so many new business ideas and just gone straight to finding a domain.
Mhm.
So I can definitely relate to that as the starting point of like a business is, going to find that domain and stuff. But, what made you decide that this product with Gen AI was like the right next step, I guess, for GoDaddy?
Yeah, so it was about simplification for the customer, right? I talked about helping the customer save time, save effort, and helping them grow and get more customers. Like we were thinking about what does the customer actually want? How can we help them? And before Aero started, we did a full several months where we just asked our entire teams to stop whatever else they were doing and focus on how can we best use generative AI to help the customer with these 3 things that I said. Okay. That was again, I think one of the reasons why we were able to move this fast, we were able to have this impact with Aero is the alignment that we've had within the company across the leaders, across the execs, to from starting from the CEO to our president, to like, okay, yes, we have the green light. This is an important area for us to focus on. Let's clear the roadmaps. Let's focus on this, right? So and the reason why also lined up with that, and so a lot of people came together really quickly with a common goal and common value add. And then we were able to filter out, okay, I just need the X number of people to focus on this for now. And then let's see how fast we can go with it. So the core group became really small, but then we were able to go together and move fast towards a common goal with no roadblocks in sight, like from the company internally. And we were just able to solve like multiple features that added value to customers, and that was just sprayed across all our products and features. That was the start. Like it was, how can we use generative AI in so many areas of our products and features that helps the customer overall? And then came, okay, we were able to prove ourselves that all of these things work and we add value to customers. Let's bring them together into a seamless experience across the entrepreneur's wheel, which again is a strength of GoDaddy because we're able to have so many products and features that touches the customer in every part of their journey. And we just brought all of that together and built that experience called Aero. So I think overall, it took several steps for us to get there, but in the end, it just came together as a magical experience.
I think this is really interesting because so often we are, as product people, we're kind of like coached to like always focus on sort of solving customer problems and, let the data guide you, da 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 da, all of that. But when you throw in quite a big shift or in terms of like what the generative AI capabilities or like when technology suddenly advances in that way, you kind of just have to have a bit of a reset, don't you? Because otherwise you can just keep on moving at the pace that you're moving with the technology that you're kind of using on a day-to-day basis and not sort of like stopping and reflecting. And it's great to hear, such a big organization like just saying, yeah, we just stopped and we just went, right, we know our customers really well. We know our customer journeys. Like, we've got this new tool. How do we explore that? And so it's really interesting to hear that that's the process. Was that kind of the leadership team that were saying that, or was it just everyone, or how did that kind of come about?
It was a few of us saying it,
Yeah.
and we had to prove ourselves. Like we did a proof of concept to showcase that, hey, this is going to add value. We took one area, we took our Diffie area, be more specific. We took our do it for you area where we were able to infuse generative AI in it and help our own agents. So Diffie is a feature set, a product set that we have where our agents or GoDaddy-led agents help external customers build things for them, right? So it's do it for you. So I chose that field because we had a middle layer which is within our ecosystem, right? So we were able to test all of these, several of these new generative AI features in that space. We were able to get feedback from these agents rather than before they went in front of customers. So there was like a human layer before it went to customers. And once we were able to do that really well, and we got the feedback that, hey, this is adding tremendous value in terms of productivity, in terms of saving time, in terms of the quality of output that we saw as well. So it was a combination of all of that. So the proof of concept worked. So we were able to get the data out of it. So we ran experiments, certain experiments won, and we were able to use that to author a document to convince our execs, like our GLT members, our execs, even further about it. Yeah.
And was part of that process as well also a kind of upskilling the development team that you have, and just like playing around with the technology and like learning its capability and how to apply it within your own sort of like tech stack and everything?
Yeah, that was a really interesting part when I was going through this, right? If I look back, we barely hired anybody new as we were kicking off this whole new wing branded experience for our customers, whole new product sets. It was the same people, or it continues to be the same people that we had in GoDaddy. Like GoDaddy has been evolving and changing over the last 5 years for sure. Like we've rapidly evolved and changed since the last like 5 years ago, we had a new CEO. And from then on, we've changed quite a bit. Like our brand, our company has changed a lot compared to the old GoDaddy in terms of culture, in terms of people, in terms of everything. But when over the last 2 years, we didn't hire anybody new. So we didn't hire that many people,
Mhm.
just for the Aero experience. So it was upskilling is the right word. It was upskilling existing folks, yes. But for me, it was easier than what I had expected because of the synergy that came in with. Okay, there was a drive that we all had. There was this huge positive attitude and motivational factor that hey, there is this new technology and we are able to use it. We've seen proof points of it. Oh, this is really exciting. There is a lot of potential in it. Let's all get to it. So the fact that we are able to do something special and add a lot of value, new value in an area that hasn't been done before, kind of self-motivated all of us.
Mm.
We're able to rise up. I think it just happened naturally after that.
Product people, are you ready? The word on the street is true. MTPCon London is back in 2025. We're very excited for Minded Products' return to the Barbican next March.
Whenever I hear people talking about the best product conferences, Mind the Product is always top of the list. If you've been before, you know what's in store. Oh, that rhymes. New insights, strategies, hands on learnings from the absolute best in the field, plus great networking opportunities. And if you're joining us for the first time, I promise you won't be disappointed.
We've got one speaker already announced. That's Leah Taryn, who you've heard on this very podcast, with more to come from the likes of WhatsApp, the Financial Times, and Google. Real people working in the field who will share real, actionable insights to level up your game as a product manager.
Whether you're coming to the Barbican in person on March 10th and 11th or tuning in digitally, Join us and get inspired at MTPCon London. Tickets are on sale now. Check out mindtheproduct.com/MTPCon to find out more, or just click on events at the top of the page. Since it launched, how has it been received? Like how much have you learned about explaining AI tools to the general public, and how has that worked?
So Aero as an experience is seamless. It sounds like the customer doesn't, I mean, they just see many things getting auto-generated for them and it just resonates with what they want to do. So it's not like we are putting it in their faces that, hey, we're using AI or you are using AI. So it's just helping them along the way to get to their next job to be done, for them to do whatever they need as their next step. So that is one thing. But overall, the usage of AI, we've had plenty of data points that are encouraging and shows how like the productivity, the value has increased with the use of AI. And small and micro businesses owners have been, the percentage of them of using AI has been growing consistently. Right? Initially, it was less than 50% were using AI in some shape or form, either knowingly or unknowingly. And that has risen quite a bit since then. I think it's a combination of just seeing value being added and saving time for them and doing it in a seamless manner. It just more and more people are just using it and getting value out of it. Like I'll give you like from stats, right? Like we know 4 million customers have used the Aero experience so far this year, right? And more than 50% of them have engaged with the auto-generated product and feature in a deep manner. So those are really encouraging positive metrics that we have, and the wide, like the huge number of people that are actually using it and how they're using it. As we look into our own data sets and pull up all these metrics around what works, what doesn't work, it helps us go deeper into specific areas. Like logo is an area that we're continuing to invest, and we're building more. We've already built a more advanced logo generator and launched it recently. We found that when a customer uses a logo in their presence, whether it's social post or it is a website, they get, again, just a simple engagement metric improved by more than 20%. Like
Right.
the legitimacy or them having a professional brand value just increased significantly because they now have a logo.
Yeah.
So we've gone deeper into that. We've gone deeper into social posting. We've gone deeper into site optimization, for example.
And has it gone wrong in any way at all?
Like wrong initially, where we were really careful about building an image generator, right? That we've launched an advanced image generator recently, but we didn't do it until recently because of the skepticism that we had about first initially the quality of the image that was being generated and the relevance of it. So we were waiting for the technology to improve quite a bit to make sure that it meets our bar so that we're producing the right things for our customers. So for the first at least a year or so, even though the models were out there that were multimodal and had images in it, we refrained from exposing it to our customers until recently. We've done that like a month ago. We've launched the advanced image generator, advanced logo generator, because it passed our bar. We now have the confidence that we're able to do it right for our customers. But we had to go through that journey initially for that.
And actually, that's a really interesting point. When you're testing AI, like how do you approach QA and testing for a product like this?
So I think there are multiple angles of tests that we use. We use technology-based tests we get a score for the outputs. And so the scoring needs to meet a certain bar that we have. And there is user testing that we do. Like once we have a certain product or feature, we run tests with a specific user group and you get their feedback. and they go at it from all angles and represent like the variety of customer cohorts that we have in the wild. And so we get that feedback, and obviously we go through our own internal engineering testing, whether it's UX testing or software testing that we do. So it's a combination of those for us to be confident enough that, hey, it's adding value, it's at the right quality, it covers edge cases, and so on.
Which kind of sounds like your normal software testing, right? So,
Yeah, it is.
there's nothing special about testing AI products, basically?
It sounds like normal. It's become normal software testing. Right? It's part of our, especially at GoDaddy, like AI, generative AI is infused in every or every team is looking at using it in order to, again, either improve internal productivity or improving value for customers. So certainly a part of general software testing right now. But
Yeah.
using the AI scores, the quality of the AI output, that is something, and we're adding more and more dimensions to the software testing. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I maybe missed that a minute ago when you mentioned it. So, how have you created scoring for the AI?
So it's scoring that, like a lot of these external models that we use, they also produce a score for it. So
Right.
when there is a score, we use only when it's above a certain score, and the bar is really really high for us. And so when it's below a certain score, we discard it, or we figure out how to get to that fine-tuned space where we use RAG, we use other things where we're able to inject additional context, additional data points to produce a much higher quality output.
Got it.
And yeah, so those are starting points, but we also again have certain scorings within our own platform layer. Oh, by the way, we have a platform layer that we call GoCas, which is GoDaddy Content as a Service, that acts as a proxy for all of the AI models that are external as well as internal. So that has been a huge, like a leverage that all of our teams use in order to accelerate the use of generative AI. So for us, whenever there is a new model, whether it's external or built by our ML team, it's just available behind that proxy layer. So the way any team would use an ML model is through the same path, right? So that has certainly helped simplify how teams can use Gen AI models and how teams can stay up to date with newer versions of the models. And that layer also has its own like scores and reliability and all of those metrics in it that prevents something from going from the bottom layer to the top layer.
Interesting. Cool. So I had a question about ethics as well. Whenever we talk about AI these days, I feel like we're always talking about ethics in the same breath. One of the things that I thought was really interesting about this is obviously there at the moment, or were maybe in the past, have been people that are doing freelance work and they're doing their logo generation, they're building these microsites or landing pages for these small business owners, probably people on Fiverr and things like that, and freelance web builders. I guess from an ethics point of view, like how have you approached this question of like, you're displacing like some people's income or work, and it's quite a loaded question, so I
Yeah,
apologize, but it's interesting to hear how you're thinking about that and how a product like this like really changes the landscape for a certain group of people.
yeah. It's a great question. I love the space of ethics in AI in general. I'd love to talk about what actually ethics means in AI and what are the areas that we should dive into. But to your question, I strongly believe that generative AI, when used in the right manner, it enhances the individual's ability to actually produce quality stuff. Right? It's not a replacement for the individual, but it's a tool where every individual should use in order to enhance what they are capable of,
Mm.
especially in terms of content generation, like you mentioned, logo. So I believe that it's not going to replace jobs by itself, but a person who is using generative AI in order to produce that output is going to replace another person's job who's not using it at all, right? I see it as an accelerator, as an additional tool and an enhancement vehicle for individuals as well as agencies to get better at what they currently do and produce even better quality outputs at a faster time to grow their individual business, whether they are a solopreneur or an agency like yourself.
Awesome. Yeah, and it's a very good point. And so I guess the other angle to this is like what you use to train your models to help come up with these landing pages and with the logo designs.
Yeah. So again, going back to ethics in general in AI, it's about being responsible, being fair, and producing output that benefits humanity in general, right? So the sense of accountability and sense of social impact has to be included when you are using generative AI at scale. And especially, we take that seriously at our company because it's included in, like I said, almost every aspect of what we do right now. So I think just making sure that, again, going through our rounds of testing and making sure that our outputs are fair and are fair, and we make sure they don't have bias in certain things. And so that going through the round of testing, going through that our output meets our quality bar, the emphasis that we do over there, I think it helps us be in the right spot in terms of doing the ethically right thing using AI. But having said that, we also don't push anything out there into the internet or into the wild without the customer reviewing it, looking at it, and approving it. Right. So everything that we produce, it's being produced while being engaged with the customer. Like we handhold the customer, we try to understand in a deeper way about what it is that they want to do. Like for example, the advanced logo generation, and then we provide recommendations about like a set of logos or different font styles, different colors, things like that, and different icons that, again, the customer can choose what to do next with it, right? They can say that, okay, this does not resonate with what I want, or doesn't include either the gender or a specific area that they are interested in or thinking of, and they can say, hey, give me something else. Or they can add more information, like I want this to include this particular variety. And then we refresh based on that, and then they choose what to do with it. Then they choose, once they're happy with the product, they can use it. Same thing with the website, right? Whatever we auto generate a full website in a matter of seconds, and it's ready for the customer to review, but they are in the driver's seat, right? So they need to approve it in order for the website to get published. They can ask Aero to regenerate specific sections or even regenerate the whole thing, and it will do it for them.
One of the other things that I know that you are very passionate about is developing or creating a culture of experimentation. Sorry, we're deviating a little bit away from the AI and the ethics, but we're running out of time. So I just wanted to make sure that we touched on this as well. It would be great, you've got 20 years of experience working in some great companies. It would be great to hear a little bit as well about how you experiment within the organizations that you work in and how you create that culture to.
Yeah, for sure. So it's evolved quite a bit. If you look at my journey at different companies, the culture of experimentation has evolved quite a bit. Like when I was at Cypress Semiconductors, I was in the software industry, in a chip manufacturing company. The experimentation culture there was there's heavy guardrails around experimentation, and the experiments were slow and methodical and systematic because you don't want to get a chip wrong in a hardware. And at Amazon, it was much more rapid than that, obviously. And there was this huge principle around fail fast. Right? So Amazon, I was anchored around, sure, it's okay to fail. And when you know you're failing, just fail fast and get the learnings out of it and move on to the next one. So that helped moving fast and empowering us and empowering me to experiment more. And GoDaddy, it's full-on experimentation culture. And like when I say that, like every piece of software that we push out goes through an experiment first, and we measure. It's an A/B test, or sometimes brand new lines. It's an AA test as well, and we measure the outputs between the treatment and control, and we prove to ourselves that the treatment cohort is the winner, and then we push it out. So it's a full-on experimentation culture, and it's fascinating to be a part of it, and how it empowers us to move fast and move in a more meaningful manner. Because every change that we do, we're not guessing that, hey, it's going to have a positive impact. We know it's going to have a positive impact before we do that.
It's really interesting to hear you talking about it because, I've been trying to build this culture of experimentation as well at BBC Maestro. And I think I had like a proud man moment, which I've got 3 boys. So I always, think of like my team as my children, which is terrible. I shouldn't say that. But I definitely had this sort of proud mum moment when we were talking about this feature, and the team were like, oh, yeah, we really want to test this so that we can prove that prove the impact that it's going to have. And we want to be able to show to the rest of the business, like, it uplifted conversion by this amount. I can't remember what the feature was now, actually. And I was just like, no, 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 we haven't got time. And I know people are definitely going to want it. We just need to put it out. It was a bit more of a sort of table stakes sort of feature. But I was so excited that they were, so passionate about wanting to test it so that they could demonstrate to everyone the impact of that something was going to have. And even though it was something fairly obvious, they still wanted to do it anyway, which was really great.
And it leads to a data-driven culture, right? Like you're using data to actually look at results, and also even there, just like what we did recently, or what we've been doing here, is celebrating the failures as well in these experiments.
Yeah.
Right? That we naturally tend to celebrate successes, obviously, because the impact is there and we have the data to prove it. But failures are such a critical part of this experimentation culture. Like it helps us, like our hypothesis become like it's a much bigger swing. It's the bar moves higher if we celebrate failures as well. Like we learn a ton of things from these failures, and helps us do better experiments overall. And that has been something that we've been focusing on here as well.
Yeah, it's we did a test the other day that negatively impacted our conversion by 20%. We were like, whoa, okay, let's learn from that one. But yeah, it is great. Laka, unfortunately, we've run out of time, but it's
Yeah,
been so great chatting to you today. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast.
yeah. Thank you so much, Lily. It was fantastic talking with you.
The Product Experience hosts are me, Lily Smith, host by night and Chief Product Officer by day.
And me, Randy Silver, also host by night. And I spend my days working with product and leadership teams, helping their teams to do amazing work.
Luron Pratt is our producer, and Luke Smith is our editor.
And our theme music is from product community legend Arnie Kittler's band, POW. Thanks to them for letting us use their track.